All right, folks, and welcome back to another episode of Young Justice Review. And this time we are doing episodes 13 and 14. Starting first with episode 13, Flying Solo this time, is True Heroes. Pretty cool episode. I like the double sort of A and B plot to this movie, but to this episode rather, but it's not really an A and B plot. It's kind of like a Halloween episode. So you get a little bit of the Halloween sort of vibe where Cyborg is fully taken over by the father box and Violet loses her powers. Also, that scientist chick, super creepy. And I'll tell you why, because it winds up happening. I, I knew I couldn't trust her. I knew I couldn't trust her, and I never liked her vibe and what was going on. But she's a creep, and she's a freak too. What the hell's going on with her? Like, very weird. Anywho, so that's the B plot is the Halloween stuff, the Halloween themed part, and the A plot is Nightwing has eventually found a good solid lead on where Tara is, Brion's sister, and turns out they're in this like fighting sort of fight club, underground fight club for metahumans, and they're being auctioned off. And how they're being auctioned off is they're fighting each other so you can exhibit their you can see their powers so you can exhibit what's going on. And I like the Court of Owls reference that they had going on there, which I thought was pretty cool. So eventually they find Tara, and if you go back to that scene where Batman is looking and he's using that machine to hear what they're saying, that's the intel that they got. So they were able to use that, and finally after all this time, Brion, we're we're 13 episodes in now. So they finally got good intel. And all that time that Nightwing was preaching to him, listen, you gotta be patient. You gotta be patient. This is where it comes true. And we wind up getting callbacks from season one. We get the Terra Twins, we get Icicle Jr., we get that strong person or whatever, but we get some of those people. So you knew it was gonna kind of be an easy win. But it's still cool to see to see them kind of come back. Even Superboy has a little dialogue with Icicle Jr. as well, and that was pretty funny. That adds to the humor. At the beginning, they want to go to a Halloween party at the school, I believe, but it winds up that they don't go because they got this lead. So the scientist chick, who we find out says something about I had a daughter or something like that, and that's why she's a freak. That's why she's a freak because she's doing this thing with Violet, letting her hijab down, brushing her hair, and then at the end of this episode, she picks up the thing. So I'm like, I don't trust you, bro. I have no trust in you whatsoever. So what are you doing? I felt the vibes from the beginning. They get the intel, they find Tara, and then they rescue her, and everything's solid, everything's smooth. And then they have to go back because they have to get the other kids too. There's a dude named Holocaust. That kind of shocked me a little bit. He's got the H on his chest too. I thought that was weird. I don't know if he's a real character in the DC universe, but his name is Holocaust, and he's in this episode. And they got that Court of Owls reference from that Batman arc, and they use that to bid on Tara to get her. And then they go back and they get the other people, and a fight ensues, and things wind up going on. Things wind up happening. So that was pretty cool. This episode takes place on Halloween. So we get a little Halloween callback. And what's cool is at the moment that we're editing and recording this is October 18th of 2022. So, and I'm going to leave this here so this way you guys know for reference because we've already started season 3, at least from a viewing perspective. So it's cool to see we get the terror story, but at the end, what happens is she texts what's his face, Deathstroke. She's like, "I'm in." Like, whoa, you're in. So, did you plan to get captured? Because it was convenient. So now the story gets deeper. One door is closed and then another door is open. We get Tara back. And there's a Just Teen Titans movie that she's also in as well. And she's also Deathstroke sort of whatever. And that leads me to believe that she was probably like she works with him somehow, or they've trained together somehow. So we'll see what winds up happening. The plot thickens with this one. I'd say this is like a 8, solid 8, 8.5. I like the little Halloween stuff, very nice, and I like the how the story progressed now with the little plot twist. So 8, maybe even an 8.5. That's what I think. All right, folks, stay tuned to episode 14. All right, and back again with episode 14, Influence. Ooh, stark difference from episode to episode. This is straight up just like, holy cow, versus the last episode, which was kind of just like, okay, cute, fun, it whole 180. So we officially find out that Granny Goodness is serving Darkseid. She had a great scene also where she's torturing the lady, and the exposition was, we serve Darkseid, so now we find out what's going on. We also find out where the metahumans are being actually trafficked, and it's to this ship thing. Because they find some lead. It's these 2 episodes are about finding leads. So they're with the Thanagarians. They find this lead. So they go up. They have Guy Gardner in this episode too, which I thought was pretty cool. So they go up, and Guy Gardner's there, and they find a way to have him be helpful, which I thought this was really good writing. And this is why this show is really good, is because they pay attention to these sort of things. So you can introduce a character like Guy Gardner, right? So they eventually, Superman, Wonder Woman, and Hawkwoman, also she's Hawkwoman as opposed to Hawkgirl, they stumble upon this ship thing, and comes to find out that's where the metahumans are being trafficked. That's where they are. They got those chips in their necks, just like Tara did when they were doing that metahuman fight club thing. So they find that out. We do get a lot of Superman, Wonder Woman, and Hawkwoman in this episode too, which I thought was pretty cool. We also get Garth. Basically, he presses Granny Goodness. He's like, yo, I'm coming after you. And we'll see what happens. That's the thing I want to notice, because she's probably going to fuck him when it comes to like working, and just zap as much energy as she can out of him, so that this way he's not prepared. Because now we see what's going on with her. She's nuts. She's crazy. I thought the scientist chick was crazy. This chick's even crazier. Holy cow. Garfield rather, presses her. So now we got a rivalry going on. And also, she's recording stuff. She's got her D'Angelo Russell going on. It's crazy. She's recording the conversation. So she's in, and she's a mole. That's the part that kind of got me a little weird, though. If you notice, Nightwing, I call him Robin, so I'm just gonna call him Robin. Robin was like, even though he is Nightwing, right? It's Dick Grayson, but he was saying, he's like, oh, Tara automatically, she's gonna join the bro. She's been here for like a minute, a cup of coffee, and you're telling me she's strong enough to join the team when you have a cohesive unit? These are one of those small things I think Wiseman does to kind of put a little bit of doubt into the character for a little complexity. Is Nightwing may not always have the best idea, but you do have to move Tara into a position where she kind of needs to move this plot along. So it would make sense, I guess, from a plot perspective. But from a me perspective, I wouldn't see putting Tara. Tara needs to be, we gotta send her to Black Canary. Let's see what's going on. I would have done that for 4 months, or at least start with a month and see where you've progressed. Eventually, you'll try to figure it out. Or why couldn't McGann actually just read her mind to see what's going on? That's something that would have been done if I were on the team, or if I was in that position. Let's get McGann. Let's read her mind. Even though she may not want to, bro. What's going on? You were just in a metahuman fight club. What's going on? We need to find out what the hell you saw. We can get some leads from that. I digress. So Nightwing tells them, you guys are on the team. We also get a little bit of the Harper household. They've got the kid, they've got the dog, they've got Violet, they got Tara, and everything's happening kind of all at once. It's cute. It kind of like has a little family vibe to it, which I thought was pretty cool. So they get accepted to the team. Superman Wonder Woman and Hawkwoman are there. They get to that base thing and where they find out all the stuff. Then they fight the lady that was being tortured, and I forget the names that they called them, but they fight them, and they get trapped in this like bubble thing. And it reminded me of Mega Man Legends 2, if anybody's played that. At the end, where you fight Sarah, she throws this like ball at you, and it's almost a little hard to get out. It reminded me of that. So they eventually get out, and they get boom tubed outside. That was the part that was crazy, and Guy Gardner's there to save them. And we find, I don't know if anybody knew, but at that point, if it's the first time you realized, Superman, Wonder Woman, and Hawkwoman can't breathe in outer space. So luckily, Guy Gardner was there, and then they boom tube out. So she has the Omega, she has that Omega symbol, which is I think the New God symbol, Granny Goodness, and they serve Darkseid. So they can boom tube in and out now. You know, she boom tubed the Justice League members. Also, shout out to Aqualad, who's Aquaman in this episode. He gets an appearance, which is pretty cool. He talks about they spill the beans basically, and then Granny Goodness comes up here and says, "Oh, the dude that was working was the one that put that program in the good goggles, and it's not my fault, bro." You know. And at the end of the day, this episode also is about like going viral and what it means, because that's what brings Garfield back to the league, to working with the team now. So she's trying to save face, it doesn't work. Garfield gets pulled out and wants to come back to the team, but he's always wanted to come back to the team. We know what was going on with that. So you were just playing yourself, Garfield. You know you wanted to be on the team. You know what was going on. You know, now it's an uphill fight for an individual character as well as other people, because the beans are being spilled. And at this point, we're halfway through the season. So now things are going to start to pick up. You got to move the plot along. The family stuff is cool, you know, but now we got to kind of move things. And Violet sleeps in her orange form, in her orange hue aura, if you will. But this was a solid episode. This is a 9 for sure. This is one of those 9 episodes. Strong, had action too. Story developed a little bit, and you kind of get 2 different things. You get the Justice League members, and you also get the young Justice kind of coming together. And the plot thickens, the plot moves along, paced really well too. So I'd say 9. All right, folks, that was a solo episode, episodes 13 and 14. Coming up next, episodes 15 and 16. Peace.